Hello everyone, and welcome back to Geometry Notes with Mrs. Harms! Happy Thursday everyone, and we're gonna jump right into this. We're starting a new unit over surface area and volume, and today we are gonna focus on surface area and volume of prisms and cylinders. So before we just dive into that, I want to do a quick review of perimeter and area that we did earlier in geometry last semester, and you guys have also seen in years previously. So real quickly, just a refresher, this shape is a what? Is a rectangle. And if we want to find the perimeter here, our perimeter, remember, is when we add all the sides. So we are going to take length plus width to get our perimeter. Alright, so our length is 13 plus another 13, which is up here, plus 8, which is our width, plus another 8 that's on the other side. So our perimeter, 13 plus 13 plus 8 plus 8, is 42. So our perimeter is 42 inches. Alright, if we want to find area of a rectangle, do that in a different color. Area of a rectangle is just going to be length times width. So we're going to take our length, 13, times our width of 8, and we end up getting an area of 104. And to label this, we would say inches squared, because we took 13 inches times 8 inches. Inches times inches is inches squared, just like how x times x is x squared. Alright, so there's our review of rectangle, perimeter, and area. Our next shape is a what? Yeah, it's a triangle. Alright, and when we want to find the perimeter of our triangle, remember, perimeter, we are adding all the sides. How many sides does a triangle have? 3. So we're adding the outsides. This dotted line in the middle, that is not a side of the triangle. This is telling us different information that we want to use for area, but isn't going to help us with the perimeter. Alright? So we're going to add, I'm just going to write add the 3 sides, because a triangle has 3 sides. So we're going to take 37 plus 38 plus 40, and the perimeter of this triangle is 115 meters. Alright? To find the area of a triangle, do you guys remember that? Area of a triangle is your base times the height of your triangle divided by 2. Base times height divided by 2. Alright? The base and the height of your triangle will always have a 90-degree angle. That will tell you which one's your base and which one's your height. Alright? So here our base is 40, our height is 35, and then we're going to divide that by 2. So 40 times 35 divided by 2 is going to give us 700 meters squared. Alright? I want you guys to remember the height of your triangle is always going to have a 90-degree angle with your base. Alright? And then this last shape is a what? Good, it's a circle. Alright, now how do we find the perimeter of a circle? Now first off, do we even use the word perimeter for circle? No, we use a different word because for perimeter we're adding all the sides, right? But a circle doesn't have any sides. So to find the perimeter of a circle, we are finding the circumference. And the circumference of a circle is your diameter times pi. And remember, pi is 3.14, 15926, and so on, right? But we're taking our diameter times pi. Now diameter, remember, is the distance all the way across your circle. So here, our diameter is 12. So we're going to get 12 pi centimeters. And there's our circumference. I would like us to go ahead and leave it like this. Leave it in terms of pi and not take 12 times pi in our calculator until the very end when we implement this into surface area and volume. So right now we're going to leave our answer like this. To find the area of a circle, this formula is r squared times pi. Or you may have heard it as pi r squared, but I like to list the numbers first, so that's why I list pi last. But pi r squared and r squared pi are the same exact thing. So here, r stands for radius. What's the radius of our circle? Remember that the radius is from the center of your circle to one side. So just this part is our radius, which means it's half of our diameter. So our radius is just going to be 6. Alright, so we're going to get 6 squared times pi. So our final area, 6 squared, is 36 pi centimeters squared. Alright, so there's our review of perimeter and area of these basic shapes. The reason I wanted to review that is because we need to know that basic stuff to help us find surface area and volume of prisms and cylinders. Alright, so first off, let's take a look at what prisms and cylinders are, alright? The first thing that we're going to start out with is the definition of a prism. And a prism is something that looks like this. You might think of a cube where it's got flat sides on every side. And what makes a prism is that it has two bases. This triangle is my base because I have another triangle exactly like it on the other side. Alright, so this would be called a triangular prism because the triangle is our base and then all the other sides are just rectangles. Alright, this would be an example of a rectangular prism. This is not a cube because a cube is squares on all sides, so all your dimensions would be the same. This is a rectangular prism because I've got a rectangle here, that's my base, and I've got another rectangle just like it on the other side. Alright, so this is a rectangular prism. Now, we're going to focus on these two prisms, and then the other prism we're going to be talking about is the base is a circle, but we don't call this a circular prism because we can see that our side along here is rounded because it's going around the circle, which is round. So we give this a different name. Rather than a circular prism, this is a cylinder. All right? But again, you'll see the same thing. Your base is the circle, and it has two bases identical to each other. All right? Now, when we talk about surface area is when you're taking the area of each face of your prism. This is a face, this is a face, this is a face. So you take the area of each face and you add it together to find your total surface area. Same thing here. Find the area of each face and add it together to find your total surface area. Alright, so our formula, our basic formula that we're going to use for surface area, SA, surface area, is always going to be this formula for prisms and cylinders. We're going to have 2 times capital B plus P, capital P, times capital H. Alright? And I'm going to give us a little key here. So that we know what these letters stand for. Alright? This B is the area of the base shape. So in a triangular prism, our base shape is a triangle. In a cylinder, our base shape is a circle. So that capital B is the area of your base. Alright, capital P stands for perimeter. Of the base shape. Alright, so again, your base shape, if it's a rectangular prism, you're going to find the perimeter of the rectangle that is your base. Alright, and then that capital H is the height of the prism. Okay, this is not the height of the base shape, this is the height of the prism. So if I want the capital H, height of the prism, I'm not looking at this height on my base, I'm looking at the height, how deep my prism is. Alright? So there's our formula for surface area. Our formula for volume is much simpler. It's actually a lot easier and typically less work than surface area. Our formula for volume for prisms and cylinders is just 1 capital B times 1 capital H. Alright? You're going to find the area of your base shape and multiply it by the height of your prism to find the volume. The amount of space you could fill inside of that 3D object. Alright, let's take a look at some examples. And I just want to say, I am going to be drawing or sketching out these prisms, and sometimes they can be difficult to draw. So, give me a little grace if my drawing looks terrible, and also be patient with yourself if you're trying to draw these figures as well. So, we're going to start with a triangular prism. That's going to be our first example. And I'm going to divide this up. So, let's see here. I'm going to do my best. Alright, and I'm gonna put, let's see here. Oh, that line was supposed to be dotted. Whoops. Because this is to help us kind of see through our prism. Alright, there's our triangular prism. Yeah? I'm going to put the numbers in here now. We're going to say that this is 5. I'll just put an M for meters. 11 meters here. 12 meters. 8 meters. And 20 meters. Alright? Now, what I suggest doing on any of these problems is first just find your B, P, and H. And once you know what those numbers are, then you can straight up plug them into your formulas for surface area and volume. Alright? So the first thing that we're going to find is B. This is going to be area of, what's our base shape? The triangle. Alright, how do we find the area of a triangle? Base times height divided by 2. Alright, so what's our base of just the triangle? The base of our triangle is 12. What's the height? The height of our triangle is 5. See that 90-degree angle? That tells you your height. And then we're going to divide it by 2. So our capital B is 12 times 5 divided by 2, 30. This is meters squared. So there's our B. Alright, now let's take a look at our P. This is the perimeter of, what's our base shape? A triangle. Alright, so remember, to find the perimeter of just our triangle, I'm just looking at the outsides of our triangle. So I'm going to take 11 plus 12 plus 8. (11 plus 12 plus 8 is going to give me 31 meters. Alright, and then our last capital H, this is the height or the depth of your prism. So how deep or what's the height of our prism here? Since we're looking at the prism, the whole thing, this is where we're looking at the 20 meters. Alright, so now we can take these numbers and just plug them straight into our formula. Okay, so for surface area, where we have 2b plus ph we're going to get 2, and then our b is the 30 meters squared. Then we're going to add P, which was 31 meters, times our H, which was 20 meters. All right. Just plugging this into our calculator. 2 times 30 is 60 meters squared, plus 31 times 20 is 620, and then m times m is m squared, right? Since these are like terms, that means we can combine them. We can add these together. So our total surface area is equal to 680 meters squared. All right, so there's our surface area. For our volume, remember, it's capital B times capital H. So we're going to plug these numbers in. Just one capital B was 30 meters squared. And then capital H was our 20 meters. All right, so 30 times 20 is 600. And m squared times m is m cubed. So there's our volume, 600 meters cubed. All right, so that is our example for how to find surface area and volume of a triangular prism. Now let's take a look at a rectangular prism and then a cylinder. All right, I'll leave this up here so that we can still see it as our key. And our next example, we're going to do a rectangular prism. Let's see here. Alright, so there's my rectangular prism. Again, your drawing does not have to be perfect. You don't even have to do a drawing, but I'm a visual person and I know that other people are as well, so that's why I'm doing this. Here, our numbers are going to be, let's say this is 5 inches, 14 inches, and 19 inches. Again, I suggest finding your B, P, and H first, and then taking those numbers and just plugging them into your formula for surface area and volume. Alright, so our B is going to be the area of, what is your base shape? Yeah, this rectangle in front is what I would choose as your base shape. You could choose the rectangle on the bottom, this 14 by 19 rectangle, to be your base, and you should still get the same final answer as long as you're still following the B, P, and H correctly. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and use this 5 by 14 though, because that's what's closest to me. Alright, so this is length times width, so 14 times 5, which is 72 inches squared. There is the area of our base rectangle. Alright, now let's take a look at our P, the perimeter. Of our base shape, which is the rectangle. And again, perimeter is when we're adding all the sides. So I'm going to take this one rectangle here, not worry about the stuff behind it, just this one rectangle, and add all the sides. So I'm going to take 5 plus 14 plus 5 plus 14. And that's going to get me 38 inches. There's my perimeter. Alright? And then our final part, the height of the prism, or the depth of that prism. And that's going to be your 19 inches. Once you've got those numbers, plug them in to your formulas for surface area and volume. Alright? So, I'm going to put these formulas down here. Alright, so we know our surface area is 2 times our base, which is 70 inches squared, plus our perimeter times our height. So our perimeter was the 38 inches times our height, which is 19 inches. Plugging all of this into our calculator, 2 times 70 is 140 inches squared, plus 38 times 19 is 722 inches squared, because inches times inches is inches squared. Then, since we've got like terms, we can combine these and say that our surface area, 140 plus 722, is 862 inches squared. Alright, for our volume, our base of 70 inches squared times the height or depth of our prism, which was 19 inches, is going to give us 70 times 19 is 1,330 inches squares times inches is inches cubed. Alright. Now, our last one that we're going to take a look at is the cylinder, and then you guys will be good to go on prisms and cylinders, surface area and volume of those. Okay, so if you need to pause this, pause it. I'm going to move on. Alright. I'll go ahead and give us a drawing for our last one. Now remember, a cylinder has a base of a circle, so I'm gonna, but looking at it when drawing it, you draw more of an oval just so that you can see your cylinder better. So that's kind of terrible, but it is what it is. Actually, yeah, I'll just leave it how it is. It's good enough. Alright, so there's our cylinder, and the dimensions that we know on it, I'll go ahead and put the center on here. The dimensions that we know are let's see here. We're going to say that is 9 feet. And that just goes from the center to the side. So that is a radius. All right? And we're going to say that this part here is 22 feet. All right. Now, again, we're going to find capital B, capital P, capital H, and plug it into our formulas. So our capital B. Area of, what's our base shape? The circle. Area of a circle. Alright, what is the area of a circle? If you need to, look back at the beginning of our notes with that review. Remember, area of a circle is pi r squared. I put the numbers first, so I'm going to say r squared times pi. Alright, r stands for radius. What's our radius? From the center of your circle to a point on the side, that would be 9 squared times pi, and 9 squared is 81 pi feet squared. Right? There's our capital B. We're going to leave it like that. Okay? Now we're going to take a look at our P. Remember, this is perimeter of, what's our base shape? Of the circle. Now remember, we don't actually use the word perimeter. This is going to be circumference. Because a circle doesn't have sides, so we don't call it perimeter. Circumference of a circle is pi times diameter, or I put the numbers first, so diameter times pi. Alright? Remember, diameter is all the way across your circle. So if halfway across is 9 feet, all the way across is going to be 18 feet. Good, so this is 18 pi feet. There's our perimeter. And then our last one, the capital H, is the height of your prism. Alright, the height or the depth of this cylinder is the 22 feet. Now, to plug this into our formulas, we know that surface area is equal to 2 times B, because it has two bases, a base on the top and a base on the bottom, plus perimeter times height. Okay, so plugging in our numbers, we get 2 times our base of 81 pi feet squared. And we're going to add our perimeter, or circumference, pi times 22 feet. Alright? So, putting all this into our calculator, 2 times 81 is 162. And then I'm just going to leave pi feet squared next to it. Plus 18 times 22 is 396. This pi I'm going to drop down, and then feet times feet is feet squared. Are these like terms? Yeah, they both have pi, they both have feet squared, so we can add them together. our surface area is going to be equal to 162 plus 396, so 558 pi feet squared. If you wanted to know actually how many feet squared that is, all you need to do is plug in 3.14 for pi. Alright? So you can either take 558 times 3.14, or you could straight up plug it into your calculator and say 558 second, and then your exponent button is going to give you your pi. 558 times pi, that would be a more exact approximate than if you took it 558 times 3.14. See how they're a little different? This 558 pi is our exact answer. This would be our approximate answer. So I'm going to say approximately this is 1,753.01 feet squared. Whew. So I like the exact answer though, because it's exact. In case any of you guys want to plug pi in or do that right off the bat, that would be your final answer when you're plugging pi in. For your volume, your base of 81 pi feet squared times your height of 22 feet is going to give us a volume 81 times 22 is 1,782 pi feet squared times feet is feet cubed. So there's our exact answer. Our approximate answer times pi would be approximately 5,598.32 feet cubed. Alright, so there is surface area and volume of prisms and cylinders. If you guys have any questions, then shoot me an email or a message on Google Classroom, and I would be more than happy to help. See you guys next time.